Hello everyone, welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney. Oh, I was thinking earlier today, because I have that kind of time, this has nothing to do with anything, that if you were like an accountant or something working for Weyland Yutani, the mega corporation from the Alien movies, that's probably a good thing. It looks great on your resume to have worked with like basically the company of the future, but that's where it ends. Because if you're ever promoted to management, everyone around you is going to be like super creepy focused on capturing and weaponizing xenomorphs. That's literally all they do. And even if you're not into that, because that's all they want to do, you'll just have to pretend just to fit in. It's like...
I don't think that's necessarily true, Leon. I mean, just because we only see this one particular slice of life at the Weyland Yutani Corporation doesn't mean that they don't have a department dedicated to, like, refining artificial flavors. like who's to say that all the people who've completely mucked up this xenomorph acquisition thing haven't been transferred over to get grape to taste more like grape?
I feel like this is such like an expensive endeavor that it must be like 90% of their operation. So if suddenly they say, you've become like a manager, and then you take the elevator, it's like, well, hello there, Johnson, welcome to the 14th floor. Say, you want to capture and weaponize xenomorphs, right? Because that's what we do here. And you'd have to be all like, shit, yeah, I do. You know, look, the thing is, people, myself included, because I've talked about this on Renegade Cut, we always talk about how the Alien movies have violent sexual subtext, but we gloss over the fact that Weyland Yutani's unhealthy fixation on xenomorphs is probably sexual too. Like,
is it? So it's like an intergalactic case of penis envy.
It's like, there's just something about this big, black, wet dickhead. Only it's like subconscious, so they don't know it. And you can never change the company from like inside either. Like even if you're like promoted, unless your name happens to be Weyland or Yutani, you're never gonna run the company. It's like
what do you think their business cards look like? Like once you get promoted to Xenomorph Acquisitions.
We don't. It just says Weyland Yutani. We don't know why, but we really want that. I'm sorry, but you're doomed. The whole company's doomed because it's like self-perpetuating. So the best you can be is like vice president in charge of milk-based androids. So you can never actually be like the head of the company and say, "Whoa, guys, we have expended centuries worth of resources on capturing this one thing. It's the future. We could probably breed something similar. Let's just do that instead of the thing that always blows up in our face."
I was going to say, I can see your business card now. Leon Thomas, Alien or Xenomorph Acquisitions, and then in quotes in like silver underneath it, it would read, "Gonna get that big black space dick."
Oh my!
I was gonna say I've had much the same thoughts about the Umbrella Corporation. Like, there's just that one guy who works in like the Galoshes division who's like, "What's up with Steve and the whole zombie thing? Like, is he trying to get promoted? Like, why does he love zombies so much?" I don't know. Like,
their
corporate culture, man. It's just whatever.
Umbrella's HR department really would weird me out. Because, like, having to deal with all, like, the mid-level employees that are just, like, doing their regular jobs, and then also having to, like, balance the crazy, like, I don't even know, like, how you would describe the cartoony, villainous nature of, like, Umbrella executives. Being like, "Okay, so, Mr. Johnson, we had some low-level complaints coming from some of your aide staff. We just want to talk about the appropriateness of spraying blood all over the offices. In your own office, it might be okay. Like, what you do in there is your business, but on your staff is frowned upon. So we're gonna send you to sensitivity training.
I've never seen the Resident Evil movies outside of the first one, but as I understand it, the world more or less ends, and the Umbrella Corporation is still pulling this shit. They're like, it's like there's no more economy anymore over there. Like, we gotta make a new zombie and sell it to whoever's left.
They're dedicated. I'll give them that.
That's true. Very few corporations manage to keep.
Hello? What happened?
Nothing. I'm like beating a dead horse, I guess. I don't know. Beating an undead horse. There we go.
They need to diversify their fucking portfolio.
They really do.
They really do.
They need to do what Linens and things does. It's very non-specific. They could do.
Well, for a company called the Umbrella Corporation, you think they'd be poised for some kind of like weird monopoly on umbrellas, but
nope.
Well, remember in Resident Evil 0, they branched out into like slugs. Remember that whole slug phase they went through?
I never played Resident Evil 0. Did anybody play Resident Evil 0?
Well,
like anybody at all?
Maybe an executive, like one of the top executives, says, "We need something that's grosser than a zombie." And so what's grosser than a zombie? And someone said slugs, and they say, "Stop drilling, you've struck oil."
And then afterwards,
take my word for it.
And then afterwards, by the cooler, everybody was like, "Jesus Christ, Dylan's such a suck up. Every single fucking meeting we have, he always yells out slugs. He was just in the right place at the right goddamn time."
All right, you want to start the show, Leon?
Yeah, I guess. I'm keeping all of this in. Hello, everyone.
The unfunny bits.
Johnny, this show would be 8 minutes long. You got out all the unfunny bits.
Leon is always looking for a way to pare the show down. I'm just saying, hey, if we kept only the funny bits, that'd be a real quick thing to listen to while you had a shower.
We are going to talk about some things about movies this week. We are going to talk about video games. I'm going to jump into the big story that nobody cares about, and that is that the Avatar movies, the sequels, I should say, have been pushed back.
How could you possibly suggest that nobody cares about space natives?
We have to be clear, it's the Space Natives Avatar and not M. Night Shyamalan's ruining of the other Avatar franchise.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it has nothing to do with airbending or bending of any kind. It is not Shyamalan related. It is not anime related. It is just...
It's all about the unobtainium, baby.
Yeah, it's James Cameron's ultra-subtle tale about outer space. Avatar, the first one, came out years and years ago, and he decided that I think I'll just wait, a solid most of a decade before releasing a sequel, because that worked really well for Sin City 2.
I just want to take a moment right here to reflect on the fact that a writer of words, like seated in front of a draft of a script, presumably not the first draft of the script, looked at the word unobtainium and was like, yeah, I think that, I think the audience will get that.
But can we obtain it? No, it says right in the word. Oh, now I get it. It's absolutely terrible. It's really one of the worst things. It would be like if the Federation for Star Trek was called Happy Smile Place. It was like, oh, get it because the future is positive. No, it's so on the nose that it's. I guess the idea was James Cameron was making this for children, except there's also sex in it. So that can't be it. I don't know.
But weird, ponytail, brain invasive, Spinal Tap kind of sex. Not like Spinal Tap the band, but actually getting weird, direct link up to your brain through your hair that they also use to connect with animals. So arguably, that could be like there could be bestiality too in Avatar.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's like here, take this thing that you hooked up to your girlfriend and plug it into an animal. Sounds legit.
Well, isn't any sex outside of humanity considered bestiality? I mean, isn't he the guy technically just being with the Na'vi woman?
There's probably a whole slew of weird, like, I don't know, DSM. It is the future, so it'll probably be like DSM-12 sexual dysfunctions that are probably, like, as of yet undiagnosed in the Avatar universe. But I mean, still, though.
All right, so here's the deal. Let's talk about this. Avatar 2 is coming out in 2017.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, and Avatar 3 and 4 come out in 2018 and 2019, respectively. So not only is there an Avatar sequel, there's a new trilogy of Avatar movies. I guess Avatar 1 was like Star Trek the Motion Picture, and Avatars 2, 3, and 4 are like the kind of trilogy that happened right after that.
Which is great, because there were so many questions at the end of Avatar that I had that went unanswered. Like, did they obtain unobtainium? Or
God.
Did the tree grow any bigger?
Oh God.
Or I'm not done yet.
Oh no, go ahead.
Is there gonna be another fight?
When I saw Avatar for the first time, I thought I hated it, but I realized, like, afterwards that would require caring about it enough to hate it, and it's just not worth it.
I was a little bitter that I had wasted my time. Like, we walked out of the theater, and I was like,
that happened.
I could have gotten a massage. You know,
I've done anything.
I could have taken up smoking and been a pro by now.
I didn't have strong negative feelings about it. I just kind of felt like for a movie that was billed as being groundbreaking, it really only visually, and even then, not really. It was pretty. The movie was pretty, but the visuals were just the next step in computer animation rather than some sort of artistic breakthrough. It's more like a technological breakthrough than anything. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that this movie really didn't feel like any leap forward except in good use of 3D, which I did not use.
Guys, but I don't even think that it was that far a leap. I mean,
okay.
You know, there were a lot of environments in the Star Wars prequels that were comparable, at least in the complexity of animation, not necessarily in like the creative design. But I mean, if you're going to go ahead and tell me that Avatar's 3D animation like totally trounces the lava fight scene from Revenge of the Sith, I'm going to be like, there's at least room for debate there.
That's fair.
And as well as like character animation too. It's like, okay, well, you know, we all remember Andy Serkis's amazing performance as Gollum in Lord of the Rings, and also Middle-earth: Shadows of Mordor.
Johnny, everyone knows that the best like motion capture technology so far is not Andy Serkis, but whatever cat they glued balls to for Toothless for How to Train Your Dragon.
Ah, yes, of course.
That is the current bar for motion capture animation.
But
it's the best.
But then, I mean, you know, and it's like, oh, but the 3D, and it's kind of like, yeah, well, you know, when you're 3D generating all your own sets, 3D is really easy, because here's what you do. That imaginary camera that you use to capture all your 3D effects, you make a second one.
The most impressive 3D is like the best root canal. It's not an accomplishment to me because it's not something I want to begin with.
Well, no, like here's the thing about 3D. I've got a 3D system hooked up to my gaming PC, right? It's called the NVIDIA 3D Vision or something like that. And it can quite literally make, like, practically any game that's rendered on the DirectX API 3D at the press of a button.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just does that. You hit this little button on its infrared communicator, and then immediately your graphics card starts rendering the scene twice from two different perspectives. Now, this is like games that are not made for 3D. It just makes a fucking second camera and then, like, parses them out. So there's a little space between them to create the illusion that you're looking at the scene from two different standpoints. And then it does this flash system where basically it's called, I think, the shutter system, where, like, it renders at 120 frames a second, and, like, for one frame you'll get the left eye image, and then one frame you get the right eye image, and it just, like, goes back and forth 120 times a second, pardon me. And then there's this little IR emitter that sends signals to these LCD glasses that you wear, that basically tells it when to run a charge through each lens. And the electrical charge causes the lens to go opaque. So when you get that, like, frame 48 out of 120 in that second, the IR emitter is saying, ooh, this is for the right eye. So the left eye goes black. And it just goes so fast that it just looks a little shadowy to the eye. So it's sort of like, okay, so you made a 3D movie about computer graphics. Dude, you made a video game. You know, like, I mean, that's it. You snapped a bunch of, like, cameras and balls on guys, and then you made an imaginary second camera. And okay, great, your eye for cinema works. That's fine. That's wonderful. Congratulations, James Cameron. But I've seen this tech. I've seen it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it took, like, tens of thousands of man hours to do it all, and it's more than I will ever accomplish in my life. But it's not even, like, the top 5 of James Cameron's best movies, and it's absurd to me that it made as much money as it did, and it's already going to be a trilogy. I don't understand why people are
quadrilogy.
Why are people flocking to this? Who likes these movies?
Apparently, everyone either maybe liked is the wrong word. Everyone saw it. I mean, even I had very little interest in it, but because of riff tracks, I ended up seeing it.
I guess I am part of the problem, too, because I saw it. Damn.
Yeah, you guys saw it in the theaters. I waited.
We're all complicit.
Well, I didn't really pay for mine.
But we know better now.
I guess.
We've learned something.
No.
And isn't that really what Avatar was about?
What that was what it was about? I thought it was about space Indians, but okay. So yeah, I just wanted to say one more thing. It's another one of those movies that's being written by 5 people, rather than being the vision of someone. Also, James Cameron is likening it to the next 3 movies to be like The Godfather.
5 writers. How many people does it take to plagiarize another work like they did with the first one? Come on.
Apparently a lot. There's a lot of input there. But yeah, he says it's going to be a family saga like The Godfather. Don't compare your movie to The Godfather. That's one thing. Second, I mean, just say it's a family saga.
Leon, you can't see because this is audio only, but I'm making a dismissive wanking gesture.
Weirdly enough, I think I could hear that. Like,
there's no Skype emoticon, but just picture it.
I can't not picture it. So, yeah, Avatar. We have other things to talk about. We should probably move on. Austin, video games, right?
Yeah, right? There's good news and bad news with video games today. The good news is another Fire Emblem was announced. The bad news is the Nintendo Direct where that was announced was at 9 a.m. and it's 9:30 p.m., which means my erection has lasted for over 12 hours and I probably need medical attention. Holy shit, guys. Fire Emblem.
Have you tried beta blockers?
It's the second time you've mentioned your dick in like 2 minutes, and it's completely unrelated topics.
Yeah, if I look down right now, I will poke myself in the eye. You understand.
So for those of us who have never played Fire Emblem and know nothing about it, what is it and why should I play it?
It's like chess, but all the pieces have names and backstories, and you can make them kiss. It's so good. It's a turn-based medieval strategy game. It's actually, the series is 25 years old this year. Started on the NES. It's a great series. The last one is the most popular it's ever been, and the new one is it's a new writer, but the same artist. It looks fantastic. I absolutely recommend everyone watch the trailer for the new game, which doesn't have a name. When they showed the trailer, it just said the next game in the Fire Emblem series, so we don't know when that is. But the Japanese name is apparently Fire Emblem If, which is a thing that a lot of Japanese things are called. There's a Shin Megami Tensei If as well. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but oh gosh.
The next Fire Emblem game is going to be called Fire Emblem Make Them All Kiss. So.
I hope so. That's the best part.
Seriously, I need to talk about this more. So if it's a turn-based combat game, is it like fight, item, magic, kiss, or what? I don't understand what this means.
It's grid-based. Like I said, it's kind of like chess. You move your little pieces. Like there's little horsies. There's little like Pegasus that fly around. There's like people on foot, archers. So you move them from square to square, right? And they can then like attack each other. But if you have two of your guys next to each other, like they'll help each other, and then they'll become better friends, right? And so if the more friendship you get, like there's all these like unlockable like dialogues between them, and depending on the games in Fire Emblem 4 and 13, the characters can get married during the gameplay and have kids, and then the kids can like grow up and join your army and stuff. In the other games, like in the endings, it's implied some of them get married. It's complicated, but it's great because it combines all like the strategy of a more traditional kind of like board game, but with like all the storytelling tropes and character stuff from like a JRPG.
Okay.
It's great. I love the series.
All right. What else did Nintendo say was going on?
Nintendo said a lot of things. One of the things is that they clarified a lot of stuff that's going on with Amiibo, which is their little Skylander figures. Like there's an upcoming game, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, and if you have any of the Kirby amiibos, you can put little hats on Kirby, and he does cool stuff. They announced a bunch of amiibo compatibility for the next Mario Party. You can play as Toad and whatnot if you have the little figures. They announced for Captain Toad the game, if you have the Toad amiibo, it adds like optional objectives. So they just like outlined, because I mean everyone has these figures and no one knows what they do yet. So that was an important step, because those things are.
So everyone bought them before they knew what they were good for.
Exactly, yeah. The only thing we knew really was that you could use them as fighters in Smash Brothers, so everyone just bought them. They're selling very well. The resale market for those things is absurd right now. I was actually at GameStop earlier, and there was a person in there asking the clerk, like, if you could just buy them in bulk to scalp them on eBay later. Like, it's pretty absurd. There's also a pretty popular story going around about some guy who bought all of the Rosalina figures that he could get his hands on because he hates the character of Rosalina so much and he doesn't want anyone else to have their amiibos. It's weird. Nintendo fans are slightly special. Yeah. But in addition to the amiibo and the Fire Emblem thing, the other big story was a game called Pokemon Shuffle, which is basically like Bejeweled Candy Crush style puzzle game, free to play with microtransactions, which is something that people have been telling Nintendo to do for years. They finally did it. So now that's a thing that you can spend money on if you want to.
I will not.
No.
I'm just going to tell you that right now.
I have no interest in it, but, I mean, there are millions of dollars to be made in these little puzzle games with the in-app purchases. They might as well. I mean, Pokemon is their most, like, casual and popular series anyway, so if they're going to do any sort of attempt at that. There's a crossover with Mario and Puzzles and Dragons. I don't know if you guys know about that, but it's a very, very popular kind of casual mobile game in Asia. It's not really here so much until now. And Mario's in it for us, so that's supposed to help, ease us into that as another in-app purchase quagmire.
All right.
So between the amiibos and this new stuff that they're doing, Nintendo is looking to make a lot of money this year, which is good.
Well, yeah. I mean,
excited about Nintendo?
The thing about me is that even though it's been a long time since I bought into Nintendo, I always have respect for them. Like, they always forge their own ground. They make space for themselves. They don't chase what everybody else is doing. Like, when Western gaming was like, oh, okay, we're done with this. Now the next thing is military shooters. Okay, we're done with this. Now the next thing is going to be mobile games. Okay, we're done with this. Now the next thing is going to be free to play. Okay, we're done with this. It's like Nintendo just, they do their own thing.
Here's the new Zelda.
And they're good at doing their own thing,
It's hard to predict them. You can never tell, if there's a method to their madness. Like, another thing they announced during the Direct was that they're bringing over the new 3DS, which is not to say a new 3DS. That's what it's called, the new 3DS. New is part of the name, which is already terrible. That's a terrible name for anything. But that's not even the worst part. It doesn't come with an AC adapter. You cannot charge it unless you buy that separately. Who does that? Any other company would be just just laughed off the internet. But Nintendo's like, yeah, buy our hardware. It doesn't come with everything. Good luck. It's absurd. Also, the Wii U, just the name Wii U. I still encounter people who don't know that it's a separate system or think that the gamepad is the console. Their marketing is it's ridiculous. You would get fired at any other company if you tried to suggest some of the moves that they make, but they do it, and it usually works.
They get away with it.
The thing is that they have the quality software to back up any weird other things they do. Like, you can't argue with how good their games are. So that's just you're just kind of stuck with them. Yeah, guys, I can talk about Fire Emblem all day, but that's the basic news so far.
Okay.
Unless you want to talk, there's other video game news. Do you guys hear about Evolve? The $60 free-to-play game?
What is that?
Turtle Rock.
It's not, it's...
Turtle Rock it's ex-Left 4 Dead developers. They have this game called Evolve, which is kind of like Left 4 Dead in that it's an asymmetric multiplayer game. We play as humans or monsters. In the base game, which is
What?
It's a 4v1 first shooter. It's like four human players and one person who kind of becomes this monster that the four human players are hunting. And as the monster, what you have to do is you've got to eat animals in this native habitat to grow and get bigger and evolve more powers. And the goal is the humans want to try and shoot you down, and you want to try and eat the humans and destroy all their shit and stuff like that, right? So, everybody's been really excited about it. It's grabbed a couple of Best in Show awards at E3, and, everybody was stoked when they saw it at, GDC. It's really ruffling feathers. But, yeah, they just kind of announced their, release date price points, and they're a little inscrutable.
In a game about being a monster or fighting monsters, there are only 3 monsters that come in the game, and you need to buy the other ones separately, and there's a $30 season pass already on top of the $60 base game. So if you want everything that's going to be available in the launch window, you need to spend $90, which is frankly unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. That's
kind of a lot.
It really is. It really is. I mean, there are a lot of companies that wind up being accused of leaving things deliberately out of their game to sell as DLC later. Capcom gets this quite a lot. People go hunting through the files on Capcom's discs, and they're like, what the hell, Capcom? The color green is on the disc. There's no green in this game. You're selling it to us as DLC. And I mean, to be fair, Capcom's done some stuff that looks pretty shitty in the past, but this is very deliberately shitty. This is like, hey, buy part of our game for the price of a game.
Yeah. Like, I know my brother was really interested in Evolve, and I showed him this news, and he's like, yeah, I'm just not getting it now. Like, he's like, I'll just save my money, I'm getting Bloodborne now. So, I don't know. I don't see why anyone would put up with that. I'm sure it'll go down in price relatively quickly, and if you still want to play it, you can pick it up for much less later.
Oh, well.
Although, I mean, shit, Destiny is only half a game without the DLC, and that thing sold really well, so maybe I'm an idiot. I don't know. Guys, video games.
Indeed. Johnny, you had a video game-related thing you wanted to talk about, right?
Well, this popped up a couple of weeks ago, and it's not necessarily just video game related.
Okay.
But I was going to speak specifically about the video game relation to it. But are you gentlemen aware? Do you know of the Internet Archive?
I do now.
Sorry, Leon, you said kind of?
Kind of.
Well, the Internet Archive is probably just about like the closest thing that you have to everything ever that has been on the Internet. Like, everybody knows what the Wayback Machine is, right?
Yep.
Well, the Wayback Machine is actually a project of the Internet Archive. It's a project that basically centers itself around trying to retain knowledge, like some kind of weird, fucked up 21st century library. Now that means that there's all kinds of shit that you can get on the Internet Archive. There are videos of all types, like old fucking like first aid videos with really bad special effects, or like educational videos that you might have seen at school, like really awkward ones about sex ed or something like that, as well as like actual real movies. You know, like you can go onto the Internet Archive and look up like cinema noir. And there's like here I'm on the Internet Archives right now, and if you go into feature films here, it's like 312 comedy items, 91 film noir, 71 German cinema from Lutz Montmartre.
Oh, well.
Yeah, so there's just like there's tons of stuff on it, and not just like, you know, oh whatever. You can get like you can get some pretty highly reviewed shit. Like, I know that Film Noir has Detour on it, Kansas City Confidential, Beat the Devil, like, you know, like John Huston movies, like real old school Hollywood and things like that you can just download and watch. Same with audio recordings and things like that. There's music, there's audiobooks, poetry, like, there's a lot of really cool stuff on it, like a lot of culturally historic things on the Internet Archive. I was going to bring this up a couple of weeks ago because one of the other things that they have on the Internet Archive is like old school software. And not just old school software like, hey, Fortran, great, teach yourself Fortran. But like old school arcade games. Like, they have an internet arcade where you can like go and play old school arcade games like Gunsmoke, or I'm looking at the titles of some of these here. Super Bike, Space Odyssey, Ollie Buchu, whatever that is. But like, and they even run in an emulator on the website. You can just like go into the website and be like, oh, hey, I want to play Berserk, and then it will load up in an emulator. But one of the things that they did the other week was add like some 2,000 old school internet DOS, like, or old DOS games for the PC.
Can I play Doom? Can I play Doom? That's what I
yes.
know.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
You can play Doom, actually.
Well, that's all I really need, but okay.
So, and I'm not sure if you can play Doom 2. I'm pretty sure that you can play Doom 2, but I know for a fact that you can play the original Doom.
Good.
What about Nanosaur? Can you play Nanosaur Extreme?
I don't know. Let's see if you can play Nanosaur. You can play Nanosaur.
Can I play Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis? Or is that like a LucasArts thing?
You are a dinosaur from the future who has traveled back through time to collect the eggs of 5 dinosaur species before a giant asteroid hits the Earth.
Damn right.
Yeah, and there's Nanosaur 2 as well.
Man, OG Nanosaur or nothing.
Well, it's there. And Indiana Jones you're looking for?
Yeah, that's Lucas, so it might be owned by Disney, and therefore maybe not
Which one are you looking for?
Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis.
I don't think so.
That's okay.
Fate of Atlantis. Oh! No, it's here.
Oh, seriously?
Yep.
Well, I know what I'm doing next.
Welcome to Word Funk, where we Google things.
Although it might just be the version that you can get might just be the German version. It looks like.
Wait, what?
Hey, I don't know. I'll post the link here for you. There you go.
I insist upon it. Okay.
It looks as though it's the German version. I mean,
why would it be that?
Maybe that's the only one that the copyright isn't. They didn't renew it or something.
It's possible. They do. I know that they have the demo of the English one. You can play the demo of the English one. They have the demo as well.
What the hell?
Well, I think that's Deutsch.
Yeah, the
goddamn Deutsch. What am I supposed to even do? What's an internet? It has internet things on it. It says the ISO image. How do I? God damn it! I don't know words. What do I do?
An ISO file is an image of a CD. It basically it's like a snapshot of the file structure. So you would
is this the part where we walk lay down through mounting ISOs?
How do I computer? Tell me later.
In any case, like the thing that I find kind of like most fascinating, I'm not like, oh my god, this was the golden age of video games, and you need to go play the Colonel's Bequest right now. But like actually, kind of just the opposite. Going through, because it's pretty indiscriminate. I mean, the thing about like collections like good old games or something like that is that they usually have a tendency to pick very specifically out of the giant morass of video game history and be like, oh, let's just wipe this one off because it was pretty good, and then we'll put that over there and. Like it's a pretty select collection, but the funny thing about the Internet Archive is that it's really indiscriminate.
Yeah, most of that is probably irredeemable junk.
Oh my god! Like I was just looking through it, just to be like, oh gee, like I wonder what what they've got, and it a lot of crap. I mean, I posted there was a tweet that I posted a couple of I think it was last week or the week before or something like that, where it was like, I think I said something like, thank God that great old games back in the day didn't have to worry about product placement or branding or anything like that, and I included a link to Chex Quest.
Yo, the 7-Up game was legit, though. You ever played that 7-Up game, Cool Spot?
Oh, Cool Spot? I played Cool Spot. But, like, I mean, just looking through these, like looking through how seriously everybody took video games way back when, which is not very seriously at all, there was a lot of crap.
Mm. Yeah.
Like a lot of crap, and it's kind of funny to see people canonize the past and then be able to see like such a raw snapshot of it and be like, oh look, it's Rocket Bowl.
I mean, I've tried going back to PC games that are actually much younger than some of those DOS games, and even those are pretty hard. So, like I told you in brief, that I tried the original Fallout not too long ago, and I could not handle just the interface and whatnot. It was far too archaic for my modern coddled sensibilities. And that game came out in '97.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's kind of. It was, and while I still maintain that there's some value in some of these old games. I mean, otherwise websites like Good Old Games would go the way of the product that they're trying to flog. But they don't, like they actually turn out to be pretty lucrative. And
there are gems. I think especially the simpler games hold up better.
Yeah.
Than the ones that are more complex, but there's always going to be good and bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's particularly the way that, like, video games nowadays lead you into being able to play them. That's something that never happened.
Because you had a manual.
Yeah, you had and you were expected to read that manual.
Do you remember well, you guys might have been too old, but the drive on the way back from the Blockbuster, where you're sitting in the car reading the manual on the way home?
Oh, yeah.
Why would I be too old for that?
I don't know. I feel like you guys are from a different age. I don't know if you were kids in the Blockbuster times.
Blockbuster was our time, basically.
I think you've got it reversed. I think you guys must be too young to remember this, but Blockbuster? Granddad Austin, what's a Blockbuster?
I'm literally about to play Sunset Riders from Sega Genesis as we're recording this, because I just wanted to see what would happen if I actually pressed this, because I've never done any of this before. It's playing in my browser.
Yep.
Why is it doing? How do I play it? What am I controlling it with? I'm gonna press the unmute button so you can listen. What is going?
I found the sound's been a little sticky for me. It hasn't always worked for me. Largely, I think like the shift button, the shift buttons, the control alt space, usually your arrow keys.
I don't know how this is working. I'm pressing all the buttons. And it is doing nothing. Nothing.
Wordpunk plays DOS games.
Let's play. Wordpunk, let's play. It's not working.
Wait, I pressed the button. I pressed escape and something happened. Input. Okay, I can. I'm going to do this later, but basically you press escape and then it gives you a user interface. Ooh, I can make Chromata.
That's good radio.
There we go. This is the unfunny part I was talking to you that we should cut out.
It'll be fine.
So anyway, we're almost out of time. Anything you guys want to talk about?
We have like 10 minutes left, Leon. You're trying to ditch us.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, but I'm just saying, if there's anything, other topics you want to like jump into immediately,
There are really a ton of things we can talk about, Leon. Johnny, have you been playing Dragon Age?
I started to play Dragon Age, and then I discovered something ghastly.
Is it the thing that you said on Twitter? Because I don't even understand.
The thing that I said on Twitter. There's no fucking walk button.
Why would you want to walk? You gotta go fast, like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Not like inside though. I was okay until I got through the whole opening bit where you get to the big rift in the sky and then you shoot your green load into it and it closes. As you do. And then he like wakes up in this, I don't know, like super shitty like summer camp for grown-up style cabin somewhere, and it's like, oh my god, you're awake, and I'm like, yes, let me walk quickly, let me walk as though a man who had been injured horribly in a battle to the door, and I'm just gonna run into the door jam. I guess I need to move a little to the, I'm gonna move a lot to the right, and then, what if I back up and take another full speed run at the door, and I made it!
You're a lunatic, Johnny.
for fuck's sakes, you know, like, and of course, EA's response was, well, I mean, obviously you should really be playing this with a controller, and it's like, I don't want to.
You're just being stubborn.
I am being stubborn, you know, like, I don't see why, when you're making a game for the PC, of which everybody has as accessories a keyboard and a mouse, you would make it so that these are the worst, most inscrutable controls to use. Like, it'd be fantastic when I get out onto the open plains and find myself bounding through fields with abject joy. But right now, I'm just trying to fucking walk out a door. A regular-sized door. And my character is bouncing around the room like he's on a sugar high.
Good thing you're not reviewing it. Couldn't get out of the door. 2 out of 10.
Get out of the door. Game of the year. 10 of 10. Would play again.
Oh, Johnny.
So, and the funny thing is that their response has been like, they're like, oh yes, we are looking at the walk button issue. And it's like, the walk button issue?
There's an issue with walking in your video game.
You know,
there really isn't, though. It's fine.
State equals 0. No, it's fucking stupid. I literally, it took me like 30 seconds to walk out of this room because my character runs at a rabid, fucking frothing mouse, full pace sprint whenever I so much as tap a movement button.
I was like, okay, well, we have 10 minutes left. Let's just quick run through how you feel about Dragon Age. You know, the themes, the gameplay. You're like, no, the controls. That's the issue.
I couldn't get out of the cabin.
You guys.
I was like, okay, I went online and I looked and they were like, yeah, we're the next, cause they just patched it like last week or something like that. And then they said, yeah, our next patch is looking at focusing on PC compatibility. And I was like, okay, I'll wait till that comes out. If there's a walk button, I'll go back to it. In the meantime, I have to finish Wasteland 2.
You.
I just wanted to, I have to throw this in at the end of the show. I was actually going to wait until the end of the show to mention this. There's been a lot of, recent departures at Channel Awesome, some by choice, some, not so.
On that note, I'd like to announce my departure from Channel Awesome.
I don't even consider this like a Channel Awesome show. This is just like me talking with my friend and Johnny. And he happens to record it. It's fine, whatever.
Well, now that I'm back from my departure at Channel Awesome, I'm inclined to agree with you, Austin. It really does sort of sound like, yeah, I spend time with two guys that also spend time with me.
Were you going to finish that thought, Liam, before we so rudely interrupted you?
I was going to make a joke, but now you ruined it.
How did I ruin it?
Someone interrupted me. I believe it was Johnny. But no, forget it.
The resulting feud from Leon and I having fights means that we're both going to be departing Channel Awesome.
Yeah. I was going to say a thing, and I would like to announce that I'm leaving the Elks Lodge from Baltimore because they're just too racist. But no. Our company is a little bit smaller than it was a few days ago. Now we only have 80 producers. So, God, I mean, we're going to be struggling to produce content. People won't be completely choking on it anymore. They'll just be gagging a little. Yeah.
I have nothing nice to say, so I'll say nothing.
No, it sucks that some people are gone. I was pretty upset at the firing of someone, actually. I've since calmed down. As for the people who left on their, own accord, well, that's just their call, and I certainly wish them luck. Pretty much everyone who's leaving is still going to be doing exactly the same thing, just not at Channel Awesome. So nothing is really lost in the general sense.
Except our innocence.
This is the day the channel Awesome lost its innocence. This is our 9/11. So,
yeah, these are the dark times right here.
oh my god.
Speaking of Channel Awesome, someone on our last episode had a lively comment section.
I would know about that. So why don't you?
Well, some of it's garbage. Some of it's good though. A lot of people anime. Everyone loves talking about anime. Someone asked a couple of people asked questions though. One was what we thought about Kill la Kill. Have either of you seen Kill la Kill?
I have not.
No, it's on my Netflix queue.
It is on Netflix. My thoughts on it are that it's very well animated. It's Studio Trigger. It's the people who used to work at Studio Gainax, who did Fooly Cooly and Gurren Lagann. It's very well animated. It's very funny. It has great music, and I would not recommend it. For the simple reason is that it fails the embarrassment test, which is if I'm watching a thing and someone walks in the room, am I embarrassed? And the answer for Kill la Kill is yes.
Alright, for those who haven't watched it, like myself, why? I have a general idea of why, because I've heard things, but explain.
There's just no way for me to explain to the person when they walk in the room why there are half-naked underage girls on my screen. It doesn't matter that it's a really funny, good action series. It's just, I'm now a creeper. I'm a gross dude, and I can't ever come back from that in that person's eyes. That's it. I'm sorry.
You're not watching it for masturbation material. You're watching it for, I assume, action and comedy, like you mentioned.
Yes, but here's the thing. The embarrassment test is very subjective. Everyone else has their own threshold. But if I'm playing Bayonetta and someone walks in the room, I'm not really embarrassed. She's not 12, right?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah, that's the difference for me. These are explicitly high school girls, and I'm uncomfortable with that a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's a good show, but I can't recommend it outright.
It's a weird cultural divide between us and Japan about just how sexualized young women can be in their material.
If you're okay with that, it's on Netflix. Watch it. My girlfriend actually really likes it, but she agrees that she wouldn't recommend it either. The other show someone asked about was Madoka Magica, which I definitely recommend, although that is also about 12-year-olds. They keep their clothes on. Okay. It's only 8 episodes long. It's very it's not what it looks like. The first episode is not indicative of the series. Give it 3 episodes and then you'll know what's going on, and I think you'll dig it.
So if you and your girlfriend both watch Kill la Kill, does that mean because you're embarrassed about it you refuse to watch it together?
No, we watched it together. But it was just well, this is the part where the clothes fly off, and then just sit here awkwardly. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
We don't have time to go into it for it, but it's a puberty metaphor that you just can play for fan service. Okay. It's because it's from the people who made Gurren Lagann, and that's a story about a man's coming of age, a boy who grows into a man, and there's tons of phallic symbols. He carries around a drill, and he's always thrusting it into people. And Kill la Kill is the same thing, but with women. There's a girl, and she finds clothes that when they get skimpy, she bleeds, and it gives her powers.
I'm a little curious about Gurren Lagann. Is there crying afterwards?
There's manly tears.
I remember when I was
okay, all right. I'm just checking because I'm not sure I want to watch a coming-of-age man story that's going to make me feel like I had a bizarre coming-of-age experience.
It took me a minute to see where you're going with that, Johnny, but that was good.
I remember when I was 11 or 12 and I started carrying around a drill.